And then I'll click slash.
And then I am going to host our channel as well.
The bird brains D underscore. It's all lowercase, right? Bird.
It doesn't matter.
Cool.
So what is the chat command to host a channel?
Ooh. Don't ask me.
Let's see. Clear remote. Goal, unmod, mod, pin, raid, unraid.
I thought we should all do this before we start. But I mean, we keep doing it when we're starting.
Yeah, but you kind of have to because oh, you know what I can do? I can go live from my phone and read from that channel.
Oh, look at you!
There we go. Because right now I'm hosting someone else, and I don't want to do that. Account settings. Why does it seem as though I create? Go live. Stream URL.
And I rated the channel.
All right, beautiful. And here.
This channel is this video is intended for mature audiences. Viewer discretion is advised.
All right, now let's see if I can get the raid going from my.
I wonder if I get in trouble for this t-shirt.
Why? What does it say?
This is an OG Kanye t-shirt. Some of my favorite things I have. The super old one though, back when he was like a normal person.
Who is it?
Kanye West t-shirt.
Oh, Kanye. Well,
yeah, it's like he was a normal person back before he like I don't know, went off the deep end.
Yeah, he did kind of go off the deep end, didn't he?
Yeah, happens to the best of us. Look at Kramer.
Content. Yeah.
Oh, I got a couple funny. Actually, just got funny topics I want to talk about today. This video wants the Boondocks things. It's a couple funny ones.
All right, give me like 2 seconds. I just want to get this.
1, 2.
You know what I fucking mean.
I know what you mean. I love to do that to you every time.
I know you do. All right, let's do this. I'm going to sign in a different browser to my main account. In the meantime, I would like to hear about your monitor. So last week you called me, I would not say in a panic, but
it's pretty irritated.
What's the word that I would use? Not depressed. I'm looking for an adjective to depressed.
I guess irritated. I'd say the more irritated than anything.
Yeah. Okay. 675. Wondering why you couldn't get on, like thinking that your graphics card died. Now,
yeah, that's what I really thought it was. I was about to be super depressed.
I mean, if it was that, which is more devastating to you? Your graphics card or your monitor?
I always look at ease of accessibility. Like, while there are a plethora of decent monitors to get, it's just a matter of funds. It's not a plethora of decent graphics card to get for a decent graphics card at a decent price. Like, usually a monitor is going to get you. That's usually how I weigh cost versus in these situations.
Okay.
Is what I'm getting easily accessible at the price I expect it to be at. And I'm right now my monitor's still in the mail, even though I ordered it Saturday. So go figure, right? But usually accessibility and everything, that's the main things I think about when I'm getting these kind of things.
So your accessibility and hold on,
I guess the like I'm trying to think of the way I want to think of a good word for like ease of being able to get it at the price that it's listed as. Not
so
like
I feel like you can do that now, though.
You can, I mean, technically you can get anything for any amount of money. It's just not the price range listed for. But isn't the when I last tried to get a graphics card, when I was looking at the PCs, it was like marginally way higher than what I paid. So has the market kind of dipped down on that yet?
I'm pretty sure the market has normalized.
Okay. Well, Mike has got buzz on it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the market has normalized when it comes to graphics card prices. Start watching, please. Like I believe you can get pretty much anything now for MSRP, especially if you are going one generation behind. Like if you're getting a 30 series, you can without a doubt get that for MSRP. Like no problem whatsoever. And I'm pretty sure that was almost the case when I bought my graphics card. What the fuck is going on here? Technical difficulties. I want to make sure the stream is actually functioning. Okay. Yeah, you used to be able to. Wait a minute.
Over here dancing, listening to you. It's so much fun tonight. That popsicle was fire.
What flavor popsicle was it?
I always get raspberry or pineapple. I don't know why.
Raspberry or pineapple. The pineapple is the one that I'm like.
You don't think pineapple popsicles? Pineapple popsicle. Say it 5 times fast.
I can't say that I do.
That's a fair statement.
Raspberry,
Raspberry's a hit.
Enjoy quite a bit.
I used to like strawberry ones too, but strawberry isn't as strong as a flavor as it was when I was a kid. It's not as good anymore.
Yeah, I'll give you that. I don't know. I
like
usually
ice cream. Oh, sorry, cut you off.
No. I was just gonna say I usually go for either raspberry, grape, or whatever red is.
I don't know the flavor grape. All I know is purple. But if you're gonna say purple, yeah, I do like purple. Purple's a great flavor.
Okay. Purple. I'll go with purple. There you go. I would go with purple.
I was talking about that shit when I was eating banana candy when I was a kid. I was always like, bananas don't taste like this. So what is this flavor? It was always like, it was just like sugar.
So was it you that said that it was based on bananas like back before they started like GMO bananas or some shit like that?
Yeah. When I had seen what bananas really look like with seeds and they were really small, I remember we talked about that before. Yeah. I remember it was very confusing to me when I saw what a real banana looks like. It's like this deformed thing. It has these big black peppercorn looking seeds in the middle. This is what bananas look like. I was like, oh, so it's interesting. That's what a seeding banana looks like. So that was confusing.
Yeah. So, I mean, if that's what it is, then that makes a whole lot of sense.
I mean, the flavor of things we have nowadays isn't remotely what flavors, like what the original flavor was intended to be, like what an apple originally looked like, what a watermelon originally looked like, what a chicken originally looked like. And even that's before even like all this like the malarkey we talk about like chemicals and all stuff. They were doing that for thousands and thousands of years. So like we've been doing that forever. Like dog breeding happened when they were still like throwing pee and poop out of the side of their house window. Like, yeah, it's okay. Yeah, at that point, it just was what it was. So I don't do this whole like in the last 200 years suddenly we ruined everything that the nature intended for us. We've been doing that for thousands of years. So I don't.
Yeah, I mean that's definitely the case. Hold on one second. I want to pick this up in a second, but there is something that's bugging me about my channel right now that I need to address.
Handle your business. I love it when a plan comes together. Speaking of that,
analytics.
Speaking of funny plans, have you heard about the what's her name? Was it Catherine Hall? Megan Hall? With that police department thing? Oh my God, funniest.
Are you just hearing about that?
No, I heard about it, but like her suing them is like the most hilarious thing to me.
Oh, she's suing them.
She's doing a class. Well, I want the term class action or federal lawsuit. She's suing counting them for damages. The police department. She's saying that they coerced. It was all coercion, manipulation.
How is you banging your entire department coercion? Like that doesn't make any sense.
I don't want to be that guy.
I'm sorry. Like, no. That doesn't make any sense.
No, it doesn't. But I don't want to be that guy. But I keep thinking about when she like when all people that do this kind of thing, they would try to clean themselves up for the camera. So she's doing like this, like she like straightened her hair out. and she like did some makeup, and I don't want to be that guy, but like, is she really worth losing your job over? Like, I looked at her on camera. I was like, this is what you lost your like 2 years of police academy for? This, like,
Yeah,
it's like a Midwestern mom. Like,
yeah, no.
like, bro, there's no way you lost your job.
No.
Come on, dude.
Yeah,
I could see if she was like supermodel bad. I'd be like, you know what?
Maybe.
Fair. Maybe.
If she was what I've had other people refer to as risk it all girl. Like if she was one of them.
I've never heard that term before. That's
like you would risk it all.
I don't think anybody's worth my money, but
well, you know what I mean. Like it's one of those things where it's like I
can't turn this down. Yeah, I've never felt that way.
I haven't either, but you know what I'm talking about. Like someone that's just like.
I mean, one thing I appreciate about being in relationship with mature people. As I've gotten older, I feel like people, especially like dating women, is that people are more recognizing the fact that like it's okay to look at other people and be like other people are attractive. When I was like dating and when I was younger, I would always say this weird thing about when I was dating girls. They were like, I can't find any other thing on the planet as attractive once I'm dating you. Mm-hmm. As I've gotten older, it's become way more like, I understand you're like, as long as you're not cheating, I don't care. You're not like being a weirdo for like constantly talking about other women, but like it's fair to be like other women are attractive. We all know it's true.
You know what though? I don't think that that's the only thing. Like I think that there needs to be like the longer you're with someone, really the better the relationship has to be, just from a perspective of like, if it doesn't continue to get better over time, you're going to want out like that. Well, that's going to be the invitation to wanting out.
That's the nature of any, well, that's the thing about most relationships in life. And don't take this the wrong way. And then not about like love and dating are one of the only forms of true relationships that are not transactional or selfish based. Like, me and you are friends. I consider me and you friends. But we're friends from the perspective of advice. I look at you as like maybe a mentor or older figure. You give me advice. We're friends from the computer standpoint. We play games together sometimes. We make streams together. Financial advice, blah, 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 yada, yada, bada bing, bada boom. But it's not like if I like, I don't wake up in the morning and go, God damn it, I need to talk to Falco. He's my lifeblood. He's what I need to keep going. Like we're friends, but you know, it's not. I don't depend on you. And our transaction is based off strictly of what we give and take. We give each other friendship, conversations, blah blah blah, back and forth, and it works like that. And that's in and of itself, that's a transactional relationship, right?
See, it's interesting that you consider that to be a transactional relationship.
But I don't think transactional relationships are a bad thing. I think that's
no. I'm just looking at it from the perspective of like. I don't look at like like a transactional relationship to me would be more something where there is something that's like literally like some sort of act. Like the only time you interact is when there's some sort of a transaction happening, meaning like the only time that you interacted with me would be you needed something from me. Not just like a bullshitting like, oh, you know, how's your day going? Like, this is fucking bullshit, whatever. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Like there's no just like shooting the shit, doing whatever, would not exist in my mind if it's a transactional relationship. Not that I'm saying that there's something wrong with transactional relationships or that there's something wrong with your definition of them. I think it's interesting that you view that as a transactional relationship.
Because I consider the word relationship a strong word. Anything less than that, I consider a lot of what I do on a daily basis association. Like a lot of the guys in my job, I crack jokes for are just associations. I associate with you, you associate with me. You know me, I know you. We talk.
Yeah.
But it's never more than surface level deep. Relationship is when it gets to the point where we're like conveying emotions, conveying long conversations, or anything that is required of me. Mm-hmm. It would leave me feeling empty if this person was gone. So like the nature of relationships to me at that point is a step above what I consider that. So in a transactional relationship is like above that because I need you for something. Like I need you. This doesn't mean I need you in my life. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You're my friend. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But like,
actually, hold on one second. Let me just look something up real quick.
No problem.
Definition of
But
relationship.
what's
I want to
interesting
see
to me about
something.
the whole Megan Hall thing, if we're gonna segue back into that, is it's her suing them for that. It's just crazy to me that like to sleep with the whole police department
So
and basically have like police orgies.
yeah, that's fucking weird. Hold on one second. We'll come back to that in a minute.
Yeah, good.
So here's the definition of a relationship. So you may want to revise the transactional portion of it. So the first definition is now condition or fact of being related or connected in or association. The second definition is connection by blood or marriage, kinship. 3, a particular type of connection existing between people related to or having dealings with each other. So by definition, I guess every relationship is technically transactional relationships fit within like it ends up being that's interesting. I wasn't expecting that.
That's interesting.
Relationship is by definition transactional. Like it fits one of the 3 definitions.
When you think of it like that, and you understand, whenever you're dealing with people in life, one of the best things I ever got from therapy, just go figure, right, was understand why people are in your lives and why you're in their lives, and cut through the minutia of like if they make you feel good, they make you feel good. If they provide things for you, they provide things for you. But why is this person in your life? Why are you in their life? That's some of the greatest advice, because it clears me away a lot of the like, why am I dealing with people I don't like? Why are you in my life? Once that opened up, I became a lot more clear about, well, if you're not going to be a benefit, not saying if you're not doing anything for me, I don't need you. But if you're actively going against like the benefit of me, what's the point of having you in my life?
Yeah, like if you're,
it makes it very clear cut.
Yeah, like if our interactions
are always negative,
or even if they're not overtly negative, but you feel negatively after the fact, it's important to like walk away, maybe not even walk away from the relationship, but just understand what it is. Does it serve you in any way?
I think of it like this. I used to be around a lot of attractive people that would kind of talk down to me. They would treat me like kind of the butt of that's kind of where I learned to kind of crack jokes and stuff like that.
Did they think that you were like the duff?
Yeah, like the definitely ugly friend. I was the big scary guy that would fight other people off. And that I was the least attractive looking one, and I was the big butt of the jokes, and big old Jairus is here to save us. And it showed me that like when I was in one of my therapy sessions, I talked about it, and she was like, bad friendships like that are like McDonald's. Like McDonald's tastes good. That 10-piece nugget sure tastes good when you're hungry and you're eating it and you're like gobbling the shit down. It's all hot and fresh and delicious. And he said, but literally the minute you're away from the restaurant, you're not eating anymore, you feel nauseous, you feel sick. Like, why did I eat that? And that's what the feeling of those relationships gives me. And exactly how I felt when I was with them. When I thought about them, and I was like, oh, they're great people. Yeah, they're beautiful, and we always go to movies and we go to trips, and we always take pictures. I'm sure my friends pictures, and we're all smiling. But then when I was with them, I'm like, God, this is so like I feel horrible. Draining. All you do is talk. Yeah, like y'all are gossip about other people. You talk about me. You'll treat me bad. You make me the butt. Especially when I was older, and I was like, I felt weird about when I'm post high school and people try to bully people. Like that was always an interesting thing about college. People in college would try to bully people. And I would be like we're grown adults here. I can just like drive home to my family. Like some of y'all have kids and they're trying to bully people. It's very weird.
That is an interesting thing, because I feel like specifically with bullying people, like that's a behavior that gets hard for people to break. Once they like if they were a bully in high school, grade school, whatever, that tends to be something that they just carry forward because it's the way that they operate. But
everybody's mean at some point. No,
but like when it's a pattern.
Yeah, I mean, patterns of behavior. But it's interesting to me is because like I remember it hit me when I was in community college, and like my little brother had a conversation about that because my little brother was talking about this kid that like he's kind of racist at his school and nobody really likes him, and he's like, I really don't want him going to my community college. And I was like, bro, like, he's going to community college with you. Just don't talk to him. He's like, no, but he's like, but you don't understand. I was like, no, I completely get it. So there's tons of people that I saw at my community college. Like when I first got to community college, it was that kind of gateway in between university and high school. And it would be people that would
I know what community college is.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. You know what I mean?
No. But I think that it's important because, like, as an aside, like, I actually feel like if you have the ability to go to a community college, it's probably your best bet, unless you're getting like a scholarship to a 4-year school right out of the gate. Going to a community college is more than likely your best move, because like I thought I was going to be an engineer, like a civil engineer. I was all about it. I changed majors 3 times when I was in community college. And if that had happened while I was at a 4-year school, it would have been significantly more detrimental to everything about my life.
I think a lot more people should consider going to community college if we're making that a little small segue. I think a lot more people, it teaches a lot of the skills I learned about time management, skills I use in university, getting homework done on time, people management, and just general like passing classes, I learned from community college, because I would trip and fail a community college class and I'd be out like maybe $500. But that same class in university would have been $3,000.
Yeah.
And it taught me little little things, like my time management, my like how to handle things. And like I had teachers shut the door, like I remember I was like hot mad because a community college professor shut the door in my face and was like, I'm not opening this door, you're late 5 minutes. And I'm like, bro, you're a community college professor. Like, why are you? But then in the back of my mind, I'm like, he made this degree, he's way more impactful than I was. At the time, that's what I thought. Now I'm like, he's great. He taught me a lot of lessons, because even in the university, I was always the first on time. I was always the one to do my homework. And regardless of whether I did tests wrong, the bare minimum stuff that was what taught me the bare minimum stuff that was required to pass had to be done. You always had to do homework. And you always had to be there on time. You always had to like pay attention, take notes.
The other thing too that I really think that, I mean, you don't necessarily get this in. Actually, let me think about this for a second. I got more of this when I was at a 4-year school, but I feel like for me, when I went to 4-year school, that was when it became, I don't necessarily care if you're sitting in that seat. I don't care if you learn anything, but when you take the test, that's what matters. When you turn in the work, unless you had to be there for like presentations and shit like that. Like I had some professors that would take attendance, and like one of them actually made it to the point where attendance was 50% of your grade. So it was like you needed to be there.
It was a professor I had, and it taught me that everybody was like super shocked about that when they took his class. But I had professors like that in community college already. He was like, if you miss more than 3 classes, there's no way you can take in enough information to pass this class. So I'm just going to automatically fail you. So everybody was like super strict about that, but I had been already used to that. So I was like, okay.
Well, on one hand, I'm all about that, because like
without a valid reason.
Okay, so yeah,
sick,
like
doctor note, stuff like that. Yeah.
Okay, so but here's the thing: like if you're going to take attendance, and that's going to be a portion of the grade, it needs to be for a reason. Like if they say, okay, there's no way that you can take in enough information to pass this class otherwise, and then you're able to, on your own, study and get the grade. I think that there needs to be consideration for that, because in the real world, they don't necessarily give a fuck how it gets done. They just care that it gets done.
Yeah, see, that's why it's every step in life you make. This is turning to like I was talking about different. So we're talking about advice. I'm turning to advice call. It's so interesting. Every step in life I've realized the grading curve and what you're being expected to do changes. Like as an engineer, it took me a while to realize that I'm not paid for time. I'm paid for expectation. Mm-hmm. You can be there 3 hours. You can be there 8, as long as the shit's getting done. That's all they really care about. Once you learn that, the maneuverability of your job makes it a lot more easy.
Well, I think that that's important I want to be clear, because that doesn't apply to all jobs. Like,
oh yeah, no.
And this always kind of bugged me when I worked at the PVC plant. Excuse me. I was just expected to look busy no matter what was going on. There could be fucking nothing going on. I could be sweeping nothing. As long as I look busy, that was what was important. And that always kind of bugged me, because like at every other job that I've ever had, the expectation was if the work is done, we don't care. Just get the work done, right? I've never gotten along with managers that were like, there's always something to do. There's always something to do.
Because there's not. There's any especially in engineering, there's always things to make me look like I'm busy, but there's a finite amount of work. Unless you're firing people. If you're firing people, then yeah, they're always going to do that. They're going to, when there's too less work, they're going to get rid of people to make other people be more busy, because it's like, if you have downtime, that means I can cut down on some of you, 2 or 3 of you, which is corporate.
I mean, that, you know what, like, okay, fine. That aside, it was always about the results. Like when I was in my 2 or 3 jobs ago, when I was selling 401ks, after I got a stat, like when I started, there was the expectation you're going to be in the office, you're going to do this, we want to see you, we want to make sure that you're learning and X, Y, and Z. Once I got some performance and got some latitude of my own, all that mattered was that I was hitting the number. That's all that mattered. My boss straight up told me, he's like, if you hit your number, nobody cares what you do. As long as you keep hitting the number, yeah, we're going to want to see you for the team meeting every week. We're going to need you on the conference calls. But the main thing that matters is that you hit your number. Do we now, if you want to have a philosophical discussion about whether there's value in going into the office versus staying at home, those are two. There are merits to both, in my opinion, especially in a collaborative environment.
It's depending on the work and the individual. I think it really comes down to that.
Yeah, but no. But here's the thing, and here's where I feel like there's a philosophical argument to have, depending on the role. Mm-hmm. If it's, and I'm lumping sales into this, if it is a creative based role or a collaborative based role, sales is always collaborative. Management, you need, if you have a role that involves collaboration, it's important to have FaceTime with those people, physical FaceTime. If you're not doing that, if you're like data entry, if you're maybe customer service, or you're some other thing that doesn't necessarily require collaboration, it's less important. But so on one hand, I could see the argument for wanting there to be FaceTime with people physically. And then at the same time, if you're an individual who can just put your, like, if you know what you've got to do, you're established, you've got relationships already built, it's a more malleable, dynamic thing where you can maybe not have the physical FaceTime with someone and still get the same result than if you had to physically go into an office. So yeah. I think that there's like, I don't know what's going on here.
What happened?
My mic cut out.
Oh.
I moved it. I don't have the greatest XLR cable, and it's like if I pull it like just a little bit in the right way, it like disconnects. But like I feel like there's an argument to be made for both sides of it, and I think that one of the things that college should do a good job of teaching you is that above all else, the first thing that needs to have the most important thing in the work world are the results. The second most important thing is that if the results aren't achieved, that you understand why, and that you took something away so that it limits the next exposure.
Well, it's gonna, yeah. I mean, you're not wrong. I feel like it's different portions of knowing your work too, because everybody's job isn't like that. I mean, I know for example, I work better when I'm not talking to people, because I'm inclined to want to talk to you and have conversations. But I need to have at least 2 or 3 days where I can, like, I come into the office, I get my physical stuff where I need to be there done, like me working in the lab, yada, 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 shipping stuff out, general engineering stuff, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Scientists, minutia stuff. But then the other half, when I actually need to do like sit down and be on my computer and do paperwork, put in data information, data entry, calculate results, that needs to be done at home, because I'm away from y'all and I can just hyper focus and get all that done.
Okay, but Yeah, but they're two different roles, and that's the thing, is that one is just a strictly task-based, like this has to get done. There is a measurable, quantitative goal or metric that you're dealing with. The other is more malleable. Now, you're an electrical engineer, right?
Well, I guess part of what I do now is, yeah.
Okay. But your degree is in electrical engineering, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What is your opinion on using capacitors in place of a car battery? This is a real question because I'm actually considering this.
That's interesting. Capacitors. I almost don't have to pay. You sprung that kind of on me. That's kind of a sudden one. I wish I had time to think about that kind of results, because I'm going over the.
Think about it. You got time.
Mm-hmm.
So while you're thinking about it, I'll explain to you why I'm thinking about this. So my Subaru over the winter, my Subaru tends to sit, right, and if it sits for more than about 2 weeks, the battery is fucking toast. And even when it's driven semi-regularly over the summer, it's not driven enough to keep the battery. There's always like there's stuff in the car that the passive key remote thing, the dash cam, all these things have like a constant like slow trickle drain on the battery. And so what I end up having a problem with is eventually, like if I let the car sit for a month over the winter, like I let the car sit from December 29th to like the end of January, right? And when I went to go start it up, the battery was like dead, like did not give a reading on a multimeter, dead.
Oh,
so
yeah. The chemical composition was probably, yeah. So
starting it was an issue, number one. And then I had to let it sit and idle for a while, which is hard on the alternator. And so obviously that'll also degrade the chemical composition of the battery because it's not really meant to be drained that much. Like if it's so dead that it won't even register as having a voltage, I know that's degrading the battery itself. So what I'm considering doing at some point is building a capacitor bank that could hold the same cranking amps, but because there's no chemical reaction that has to take place, it's just storing it. And I know that it won't negate things like the trickle drain on the battery and stuff like that. Like, so there would probably still be the need for like a small battery to just keep the capacitors topped off or run the external systems. But like, do you think that there'd be any advantage to doing something like that?
I feel like if I want to give you I feel like that is more of a question. I'm gonna think about that before we do our next stream and give you a solid answer. I want to give you like the quick answer, which is probably based on my calculation in my head about the capacitance and thinking about delayed energy versus immediate energy. Yeah. But I don't want to give you a kind of a BS like, oh yeah, I'm an engineer, of course, yeah, buddy, answer. So I want to give you like actual hard science and information behind that. So I'll answer that next week.
Okay.
I'll do that.
I'll make sure that I ask that next week.
Yeah. Like I said, I have more than enough time to now you spark mine. So I actually am interested. That's interesting.
Because like I'm always like the nerd in me is always thinking of like different projects, things I can make better, or just like little projects. Like I was talking to Paige about this one day, and I was like, one of these days when we've got a garage, I want to build a turbine engine and put it in a go-kart. Yeah, so you can build sort of from scratch, like 80% from scratch, because you can pretty easily convert a turbocharger into a turbojet engine. Basically what you do is you take a turbocharger, and for anybody that's listening, the way the turbocharger...
How fast does it have to spin for that go-kart? Now I'm thinking about the rotations. The
I mean, it's always... I mean, let me put it this way. Model jet engines, like if you were to buy like I forget what like a turboprop engine, those spin at like 120,000 RPM.
Oh, so it's got to be way past that, yeah.
Turbochargers spin at 120,000 RPM. That's usually what they're rated at. Like if they're in your car, that's generally what they'll spin at. So what you can do is you essentially need to have an external pump to run oil through the turbo, and you need an external pump for if it has coolant jackets that run through the turbo housing as well. Then you build a burn tube, right? So you need a place to combust the air and fuel. And essentially what happens is you need you take like a leaf blower or an air compressor, and you blow air in through the cold side of the turbo. It goes into a tube that goes into the burn tube, where you then can use either like diesel fuel, propane, or any kind of like combustible. It burns, and through the fact that it's burning, it's obviously expanding now. The gas that was already compressed and put in there is now expanding. And then it exhausts into the hot side of the turbo, where you can it will then spin the cold side, so it becomes self-sustaining. Yeah. And then you just design a nozzle to direct the exhaust gas out, and you got a turbine engine.
How long do you think that would take you? How long of a project would that require within the manpower and energy?
Well, with the right tools, once you have all of the material, it could probably be assembled in, I would say, a day.
Wow.
But I mean, that doesn't mean it's going to work after a day. Because like, here's the thing, like, and this is what like I consider, this is what goes through my mind as I'm thinking about stuff like this. I'm like, okay, so I would need a battery to run an oil pump, a coolant pump, 2 radiators to cool both the oil and the coolant. I would need a tank for the coolant. I would need some way to regulate fuel. I need some way to start the engine, something to mount it to. And then the logistics of how you would keep the electrics running. And I'm like, okay, because like the thing is, like, you can very easily do this and just run it off of like an RC, run the pumps off of like a LiPo battery for like an RC car or like a big RC helicopter or something like that, like a model.
But a go-kart's gonna require a little bit more push than that.
No. So here's the thing: you only need to power the pumps for
not the front. Oh, yeah, for the back wheels, right?
No. So with a jet powered go-kart or jet powered vehicle, it's pushing. The thrust is pushing forward. You're not actually spinning the wheels in the same way that you would be spinning a...
I think I'm gonna need to do research on this too. This is kind of interesting. I'm like listening to you. It's getting more and more in depth than what I was realized.
So think about how a plane flies, right? The jet engines
that push it forward. Yeah.
Well, the jet engines create thrust that pushes it forward, right? Mm-hmm. So that's what you're doing with the jet engine on the go-kart. It's just strapped to a go-kart instead of a...
How fast would that go?
So there's one on YouTube that I saw that they took a turbocharger out of a Cummins turbo diesel, like a Mack truck sized, like the turbo's like yay big, right? Mm-hmm. And they put an afterburner on it and everything, and it tops out at like 100 miles an hour. I don't know that I could build something that sophisticated because like it's got like a self startup, like it's something, like it's really a sight, and it sounds like a jet engine, like it makes all the noises that you want it to make, and then when they hit that afterburner, it's serious, like it's really serious.
Okay.
I would be happy with something that like I could get up to like 20 or 30 miles an hour, maybe 40 miles an hour.
I think if you really push, you probably get 40, 50. If you really,
because like you just need like a big enough turbo. You need to be able to run enough fuel and air through it. And then if you really want to push it further, you don't even necessarily need to get a bigger turbo. You just build a second engine and you strap it to the back and you link the throttles together. So when you spin one up, you spin the other up, and now you just doubled your thrust. Like there's a dude that has he uses 3, they're called ramjets or pulse jets. There's no moving parts in a pulse jet engine. It's like a big U-shaped engine. You blow air in through one side of it, you fire it up, and then it has like multiple like pulses. Like it burns, expands, and then the act of pushing out that that pulse will pull more air in along with more fuel, and then you hit the spark again, and it just self-sustains.
Kicks out, yeah. Okay.
They sound wild.
I think like I said, I'm gonna do more research on this. It's just kind of interesting to me.
Yeah. So I've always wanted to do something like that. I've also always wanted to like rip a motorcycle engine out of like a.
My dad has done that a ton of times.
What?
From piece by piece, down a piece by piece.
No. Rip a engine out of like a sport bike or like a Hayabusa and put that in a go-kart.
Oh, I thought you meant my dad. See, my dad's taken them out and swapped them between bikes and then rebuilt the engine from scratch.
I would love to. So at some point, oh, your dad had a ZX14?
He has ZX14, yeah.
Nice. That and the Busa are probably what I would want to pull a motor out of and put it in a go-kart because
that thing was strong. Cause it was times he was taking me riding as a kid. I'm like, how's this thing holding? Like, and I would be like 5, and I was a pretty lanky looking 5-year-old.
Yeah.
Maybe flying across the curb the whole time.
It's wild how motorcycles don't feel as fast. Well, sport motorcycles don't feel as fast as they are.
Well, I wonder how. I always thought about that. It's so many different interesting things that happen. We're turning like into science, bros. This is so interesting. So many different things in nature, and then how the laws of physics affect your reality. Like when you're moving, like we can be driving 70 miles per hour, and if I throw a piece of popcorn, the piece of popcorn doesn't fly and slam in the back window the same miles per hour. It still goes that same amount of distance I threw it at in the slow moving in the car, even though we can be going 110 in that car, right? Interesting. Or like when you think about, like, for example, I was having a conversation with a friend of mine, and we were talking about like dinosaurs and different movies and stuff. And he was like, why do you think certain things don't get bigger? And like, do dinosaurs consider big? Why is like stuff like as big as Godzilla? And I was like, you have to consider about the laws of bone density. The bigger something is, the stronger the bones would have to be. That's why dinosaur bones still exist, because they were so big, their bones had to be stronger to support all that weight. Mm-hmm. So they last. They're made of stronger materials than human bones, thus they last longer. But a small human or even a small squirrel or a small animal, the bones like that aren't having to carry that much weight. The amount of gravity pushing down upon it. So they're not. They usually you won't find bones of small animals like that. Interesting question. Yeah, I mean, but think about that, and then think about the opposite of that. How in the bottom of the ocean, where creatures have to have a certain level of buoyancy and a certain level of pressure resistance to even exist, and have literally no bones.
Yeah,
because they would get crushed by the weight of the water. But it's so many different fluctuations of just how physics will affect all of us in the natural world. It's so interesting.
Do animals that live at like those like extreme depths, do they have a way of like, is it essentially something where it's more like the pressure just equalizes, like they're not resisting it in the same way, but they're
it equalizes, because if you bring them up to it'd be different if it was pressure resistance, because if it was pressure resistance, they'd have a way to like fluctuate their own pressure. So if you brought them up to the surface, they'd be fine. But no animal that you bring up from the deep sea that you bring up north, that's why you don't see them in like aquariums, because they can't exist. They instantly die. The pressure is so light, their body literally explodes, because their body's built for pressure at a certain level.
I didn't even consider that.
Like, think about how when you catch, have you ever seen videos when you catch fish and they catch the fish too fast, and his eyes are all popped out like in movies.
Yeah.
The pressure. That's from pressure. Their rapid changes in pressure affect you. And
like I know about things like the bends and stuff like that where you, you have to acclimate yourself to certain pressures, like as you come up, so that the oxygen stays dissolved in your blood. But I never considered that with fish.
It's like in movies where I always think about this, where it's like in movies where your body is built for say for example, if I strapped a big piece of metal on your back, right, and you've been walking this metal your whole life like this, like your entire existence, and then I took it off, you would magically rise up and be like, oh my God, I'm Superman, and be able to pick up cars, lift buildings. Your body would have been naturally built for that amount of pressure on your body. So when that's removed, your body has to readjust to the pressure or the weight that your body is sitting at now. So you fall, and if it's so much, you just fall apart, or you rapidly expand, and it'd be too much for your body to handle. Like, imagine. I'm trying to think of a good apt example. I was gonna say a bunch of fat people getting out of a car at once, but maybe that's not too apt description. I think of it like when you when you have a seesaw and you take a bunch of weight off one side, which shoots up.
Sure.
That's kind of what but imagine that happening to your vital organs and all your different parts of your body.
That's a better example.
Yeah.
No, I never considered. So if you know what I think is funny too, how flat earthers.
Oh yes, these interesting people
will tell you that it's like, oh, if we're really rotating at that speed, why don't we just get flung off the top of the earth? Like, why wouldn't we just get flung out into space? Or why? Force. Yeah, like why don't we feel the rotation? And it's like, well, the same thing is in a car, man.
Yeah, if you're in a speeding car and you gripping on, you don't just magically, the minute a car goes 5 miles, you don't fly off.
Yeah.
It's if you're at speed, the launch vehicle, as something is moving fast, you get gripped tighter and tighter to it. Now, if it stops all of a sudden, then you get flung off because all the speed catches up with you.
No. So, so the thing is, we're constantly at odds with both the centrifugal force pushing us off Earth and the gravity that's pulling us down. And gravity wins because we're still here.
It's the strongest force in the universe.
It's actually kind of a weak force.
Dependent on what level you're talking about. Because gravity at a black hole level is the strongest.
Yeah,
light can't even escape that.
So that's density. Gravity itself is weak. The description that I've always gotten from my physics
Bill Nye the Science Guy podcast.
No, but so think about this for a second.
That's so interesting.
Think about this for a second. You can measure, like, there's a constant. I don't remember what it is, but there's a way to calculate gravitational pull that matter has. Like, you have a literal gravitational pull based on your mass.
We all do.
To everything around you, to the microphone in front of your face, to the headphones around your head. You have, it's based on
your mass. I think it's your mass. Your mass that you have.
So consider this. The Earth's gravitational force is strong enough to keep you here, but it's so weak that you can literally easily, and we do it every day, beat the gravitational force.
Yeah,
just by standing up.
Well, that's why that, like you said, with the ability of thrust and doing planes, it's such an interesting concept for how the math of that works. Because to even take off and match you don't get pulled down by the gravity of Earth, but also not getting flung into space because you're using that amount of power to push yourself off Earth.
Well, hold on, let's come back. Let's come back to that, because that goes into fluid dynamics.
Well, but it's the science of all that is so. It's funny how the science of all those different things flows into each other. Like, for little shit you don't even think of, like your plane taking off, like nothing to you.
So the thing that changed my perspective on a lot of things is that air and water are both fluids.
Yes.
Right, but most people don't think of air. You think, oh, it's a gas. Liquid is a fluid. They're both fluids. So when you consider that they're both fluids, they're just different densities. When you think of a boat sitting on the top of the water, it's just because it's more buoyant, right? It's displacing more of the water than its own mass. And that's how planes fly. They have to find a way to displace more than their mass of air. It's just that because air is so diffuse, you need to displace so much more of it in order to get to that buoyancy. And like when I realized that in high school, I was like, holy shit. Like that changed my understanding of a lot of different things. And like when we were talking about when I was learning about gravity in high school and the constant for it and the way that you're essentially, every time you stand up, you're pushing away from you an entire Earth's worth of gravity. You're pushing the entire Earth away from you every time you stand up, every time you lift your arm, whatever it is. The force that you feel down is literally the entire Earth pulling on you, and you're able to push away from it.
I was thinking of it like little things like, for example, the moon has an effect on the tide. The moon
Yeah,
can pull can pull something on the surface of the Earth. But if I'm standing in my house and it's a full moon, I don't just get flung into the sky, or I'm not floating off the ground because the moon's gravity pulling me.
Right.
It just has enough to affect the water, which is interesting.
Well, it has enough to affect the water, but it's not on a huge scale. It's just ever so slightly enough that we notice the tides changing. Now, going back to your example of a black hole, when you put it in that perspective in terms of how massive something is, or like, and when I say that, I mean like mass can either be something that's incredibly dense or incredibly large. And the fact that it has so much gravity, the concentration of that object's gravity is so great that light doesn't even pass through it, or light isn't able to escape from it. Gives you, like, it changes your perspective on what it actually is, because when you think about it, a black hole isn't a hole. It's a physical object that's so dense that its gravitational force
it's collapsing in upon itself.
Well, it already has.
Yeah.
But it's such a dense object that it doesn't even allow particles of light to escape its gravity. That's how dense it is.
Well, it's what's interesting is, when I was reading books about this, is the density is so strong it affects the value of time.
Right.
Like the constant of time between the event horizon and it being ripped apart.
Right.
Is like thousands and thousands and millions of years. But to like the distance could be like minute. It could be no bigger than this. But this could be, this realm of time could be infinite. Within like,
and it's a situation where it's different. It's observably different for everybody. So like the person being warped wouldn't notice the time being different, but you would essentially be, if you were looking at them from a distance, you would be seeing them get like warped basically indefinitely.
Well, the spaghettification, all those little things. Where
exactly.
Individual particles, bit by bit by bit, are getting sucked in. And I remember, it's funny. They had I think one of the I guess one of our, the term is telescope or modules, got far enough where you could actually hear what a black hole sounds like, and it was such an interesting. It's not like scraping or like a dream, which is interesting sound of what that sounds like.
That it's interesting that it was able to record a sound at all, considering
there's
space.
No sound in space. Yeah.
Well, yeah, because like when you think of sound as literally just like ripples in a pool, but something that we can perceive, and that you need to have some sort of a medium in order to transmit it.
There's some way they did it, but it was like this is what a black hole would sound. This is what a black hole, more close to black hole, sounds like. But, oh, interesting.
You got to find that and send it to me, because I want to see that.
See, I didn't realize this is such an interesting thing. I have these conversations with my mother all the time, these deep scientific conversations and philosophical conversations, and I never have these with anybody else, which is interesting. I found another new thing about you in our friendship.
I fucking love having these conversations because I think about it all the time.
I mean, the world.
I told you about the color conversation that Paige and I had, right?
Yeah, it's funny. I was laughing about that.
Like it's true though. Like we don't know that we're having the exact same experience here.
Well, that's one thing about the observable universe and all things you experience individually as yourself as a person. Your experience is so much different than me to you or you to me. Like for example, right? I've always had a weak left eye. Like I cannot, like this eye right here. When I close this other eye, like everything looks blurry. It looks like you're all drawn in like a 4-year-old. Like it looks like you put like the plastic wrap you get it from your friend.
Yeah.
You put that over your eye. It's similar to how I can see out of this eye. So I've never had good vision here. I can't see my finger here at all.
So do you wear contacts? Do you wear glasses? Have you attempted to correct the vision there?
It's a strength issue. It's like if you had a weak arm, like if you had like, you know, the movies when they have like the smaller arm. It's my eye. It's like it's a what the term is a gimp leg, a gimp eye, pretty much. It's never, no matter how much.
Is it like a lazy eye or?
It doesn't lazy. It's still, my eye doesn't drift. My eye moves. If I look left, it looks right. It doesn't drift at all. But the strength of the eye, the actual strength of me being able to focus is marginally weaker. Okay. It's like a legit genetic thing.
Right.
So I can never see this. This has always been an issue.
So like you can't see it at all, or you can't make out what it is.
I know what this is, but I can't, like, for me, look, like if I put my finger here, right? I can see my whole hand here. I can see 3, I can see 2, I can see 1. If I put my hand here and like right this exact same eye, and I put up 2, my eye cannot see this.
But can it see that there's something there? It just can't see it.
Yeah, I can see that there's
something.
An amalgam blob, but I can't see it.
Right. Okay. So you can get like there's something there.
My vision goes like, it's really strong for this eye, goes really strong here, and then it naturally drifts off.
Right
here. So it gets weaker and weaker as you go, the farther and out and the left you go.
And it's more narrow than your right eye, is what you're saying. Interesting.
So my FOV is really weak here. But I've always lived like that. So I've always compensated for it. So I naturally lean to the left. And when I'm sniping in video games, I do this sometimes to focus. This is my far-sided eye. But but to me, that's always been my experience. So I've never known what it's like to look through 2 perfectly good eyes.
Right.
It's never been the thing I missed. So I can't compare my experience of existence to yours because it's not marginally different. I've never missed it.
Yeah. And it's interesting that you bring up vision too, because I feel like so much of it is, like we were talking about your dad and just like the way that we relate to the world around us is so visually, like everything is tied to vision, like your spatial awareness. Although
it's techno music playing in the background, like we're talking about like science and shit. It's so funny. On my stream, it's so funny.
Oh, jeez. There was a video that I saw. Like it was originally with the whole trend of like guys getting like shit on at the gym by women, but it was a blind dude. And he was talking about how he got into this like scuffle at the gym because some girl thought that he was staring at her or whatever. But what was interesting is that he said that he's like, now he's totally blind. And he used to have vision, but his vision went away, whatever. He's totally blind, can't see anything, like nothing, zero. And what's interesting is that he mentioned that like he could hear someone coming closer to him as she was approaching him. Then he could hear the manager coming closer to him. And then I saw another video of a blind woman who was like explaining how she navigates through a mall by herself. And she said that like the first thing that she does is she always has to go in through the same entrance just so that she can orient herself in the mall. And then she's able to smell every store's different smell and orient herself that way.
That's so, but I mean, I think about that. Like, if I blindfolded myself, could I make it upstairs to my closet, change my clothes, throw them in my basket, come downstairs, and then begin to cook all blind? Like, I don't, let alone go to the mall and shop.
Right.
That's so interesting. But I mean, again, I can't, and human existence is based off of what you go through, because I can't miss what I never had. And I can't not have what I can't, what I'm saying? It's so, the human experience and the way you relate to reality is so intricate and so specific to you. It's so special to just you because I can't think like you. That's what's so interesting about this conversation we have, whether it's political or personal or like individual based, because my experience is directly tied to how I feel about everything.
Right.
My
and your past experiences.
Yep.
Yeah.
I never discount how other people feel or how other people relate to their position in the planet, because for my specific journey led me to this exact moment.
Right.
Whether it's the good, the bad, the lies, the truth,
the bad, and the
failing.
ugly.
Yeah, the ugly. But but I'm joking. Self-deprecation is a form of comedy. And speaking of that, I want to segue into comedy for a second after this too. So
All right,
funny
let's go.
Something funny about this. Did you hear about what Chris Rock said? Have you heard about that?
First of all, you got a blur on your camera like a smudge. No, not like that. Like a smudge, like you need clean lens type of smudge. You're just making it worse, bro. You got grease on your face. Oh my God, that's like 10 times worse.
Time to pull out the handy dandy t-shirt.
Yeah. Oh, just. Oh, much better. There you go.
Cool.
There you go.
Actually, it does look better. God, like it actually
Just
got clean. Wow.
Tilt it down a little bit. All right, there you go. Yeah, that now we're like looking at you in high def now. Tilted a little bit up. A little bit up.
It looked way worse. It does look way better. Wow, I didn't realize it was that dirty.
I didn't realize how dirty. I thought it was just like there was like a little smudge on the top, like above your head.
Bro, the whole.
But now it's like I'm looking at you in high def. I'm like wondering if I should clean my own fucking camera.
It's like my whole. I look back how I looked, and I'm like, oh my God, the whole room looks better.
Yeah.
Okay, but
So I did not see it. I know he like apparently went in on Will Smith.
It wasn't funny. It looked more therapeutic, which again is still a form of releasing comedy. And people listen to people complain about their lives all day, called therapy, and called the podcasts. Shout out to everybody else who podcasts. They just air out their problems and grievances with their existence with men and women. Shout out to all of you. Because it wasn't really funny. Like I've been like, it felt like when I'm in the car with my friends and everybody's quiet and they're like, Jared, what's wrong? And I'm like, well, and I just go off and they laugh because I'm being all exaggerated and animated, but it's not really funny. It's more like I'm releasing. So I respect him for doing that. He did make some interesting points. I'm gonna watch bits and pieces of it. I mean, I'll probably need to watch the full context, but from what I can see. But I mean, like.
So can I just insert my little snippet of my opinion on what I thought of the small bit that I saw of it?
Yeah,
so Paige actually turned it on pretty early on, and we were watching a bit of it live, and I was having a hard time listening to him because I felt like in the beginning of it, and I don't know if this was just me, but it sounded like he had like something in his mouth. Like he didn't sound like audibly, not just like, oh, what he's saying doesn't sound like it didn't sound like Chris Rock.
So hard. His vocal, what you're saying?
No. Like if I was to put like a piece of gum in my mouth and try and hold it in a specific portion of my mouth.
Oh, like this?
Like it sounded like he had something physically in his mouth, or like something was off. And then also, I can't stand when a high level, like that's supposed to be a high level production. I can't stand it when they have plosives in that make it into the, like if you're saying a bunch of P words and all you hear are like, I'm pretty sure that doesn't even clip into my stream. But I was just trying to do it.
I always wonder I always wonder what's the difference between production live and production like release in these shows. Like
I gotta get my buddy.
Everybody knows.
I'll talk to one of my friends because he did. Have you ever heard of the he's like a DJ, Gazo?
Yeah, I've heard that.
So he did the live sound for him for a bit.
Okay.
And like we saw Gazo live a couple times or once, and while he was doing the audio for him, so he would be able to tell you like what's going on in situations like that.
Yeah. from like I know as a live audience, it's gonna be instant, but like
Right.
from like TV to my ears, what is the delay? Because I know there's always gonna be like I always consider, was it 30 seconds to a minute? A minute would be a good time for me to be able to clip out expletives, edit curse words, like added sound.
I'm not even thinking about that.
I always think about that.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I'm not talking about that though. Like I'm talking about the actual sound quality. Like whoever was at the mixing board that night, because you know that someone was doing it. My question is always like, is there no way to get rid of that at this point? Like, would you have to switch microphones? Does he need to hold it away from his face more? Like, is there no way for you to mix this in a way or like add in some sort of like noise gate or a compressor or something that would allow that to not be there because it's distracting for me?
You know what's funny is how people look at and view things differently. Like we can all look at the same orange. Like I'm contextualizing his emotions and like I'm like, it just seems kind of releasing. You're like, fuck what he said. The production on this could use some real work. It's so fun. I know, but no shame. Because I love that about you. Because me and you can both be watching the Titanic, and I'm like, this is not. What is the emotions of this? And you can be sitting there like, he could probably fit on that. He could probably fit on that door. That's like your first thought. Like it's like you look at
this is bullshit. Like why is he not getting on the door? Like what the fuck is going on here?
Yeah, like what is it's interesting how different perspectives people have on stuff. Because I'm not even really, because we're both logical, just different ways. I never look at emotional sometimes. Yeah, like I said before, I'm contextualizing the situation. I was in a situation and how he's viewing it. But I mean, it was pretty shit for a comedy special production. I'll be honest with you. It was like background noise for me to begin with. Like it was just put on as background noise. Like I was laying on the couch, playing on the Steam Deck. And Paige she was like putzing around on her iPad. She just put it on because she knew it was like happening. And like, I'm hearing it in the background. I'm like, I can't fucking listen to this anymore. I was like, can we put some, and on top of that, it was making it less funny for me. And I was like, is it just me or is this just not fucking funny right now? No, it's not fun. Like, no, I'm not joking to you. Because even if you watch it, like if I gave that film grade production and gave him like a high lens and I did fisheye and different angles and segue with some good music in the background, it still wouldn't be funny. I think he needed it. I think it's necessary to hear his point of view. He maybe made 1.2 point, but it's not funny. He's a bitch. His wife's a bitch. They're bitches. Everybody calls Will Smith a bitch. It like there's no. Okay, how do I put this? Reactions to what you view as an injustice or a difference to you are always like based on the individual. Like, I'll give you a clear example. One of my best friends, I don't know if he's watching this podcast actually now. I was fucking around with him one time. Like I was just joking. And we were going to go to the beach and I was fucking with him and laughing and joking. I think he had already been in a bad mood for something happened. And I threw a bottle of water at him and he hauled up and punched me in the face. And I was like, dude, what the fuck? And like I was in shock because he punched me. Like I literally went through a whole day at the beach, like sitting there, like, damn, he really punched me. And I didn't fight him back. I just stood there, was like, he really hit me. Like I went to the beach, hung out, went in the water, talked to people, cracked jokes, and then eventually I went home and was like,
this motherfucker punched me in the face.
Like I really got put. And I was like, I wasn't mad. I was just like, wow.
It's like that actually happened today.
Yeah, but then in time, we're still best friends, of course. We talked about it, blah 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 blah, men's stuff, blah blah blah, men's emotions, blah blah blah. But the point I'm making is everybody contextualize situations differently. I myself, the way my parents raised me, I was taught to lash out in anger. My mom and dad are very like immediate emotions. So I learned. Like I hate when my voice cracks. I'm making a joke about myself.
I didn't even hear it.
That means my voice is really high pitched. Oh my god.
Or it just means that the microphone didn't pick it up.
Oh wow, it didn't. I love you, baby. I learned that when you give people, one of the things I learned in therapy and dealing with my father, because my father is very big on like saying shit and you lashing out and then you get in trouble for it. Like my dad would like purposely antagonize you to get a reaction, and then you do the reaction, and then he'd be like, I don't know why you talking to me like that in my house. 2 weeks in 2 weeks in punishment. I was like, you just like called me fat and ugly. Like I can't say like you're wrong, like shit like that. But I learned very quickly, and part of it through therapy and part of it as I got older, is that when you give people mastery, let people get you riled up and angry. You give people mastery over your emotions, they have power over you. So I purposely will go out of my way to like go through shit and still like, how can I be a master of my emotions? How can I not get angry? So to a degree, I kind of get the reaction of not fighting back at first, but you lose me when it comes to the whole like, you need to get it out. It's therapeutic to get it out, but like, there's a difference between getting it out and then lashing out to save face. I feel like he's lashing out to save face. It sounds like it comes across like that. Not that he's wrong to do that. It's still his right to do that. But that's what it felt like to me. It felt like
it didn't feel like he was just trying to work shit out. He just was saying it because he could. Like
I would never say shit about Dave Chappelle because Dave Chappelle would fucking embarrass me. I would never say shit about Ari Spears. Ari Spears would fucking embarrass me. Katie Couric would embarrass me. Jon Stewart would embarrass me. Stephen Colbert would embarrass me. Trevor Noah would embarrass me. When I was watching that shit, I'm like, I could probably get a couple of jokes in Chris Rock. I could probably take. I'm not gonna out funny him, but I was not verbally afraid of him.
Right.
That's a real thing. Comedians make me think about is that verbal fear. Like I can beat the shit out of most comedians, like as a normal guy. But can I verbally spar with you in a one-on-one?
So you know what's interesting?
That's what I think about.
Is that
because Joe Rogan's really good at that shit too. He's really good at verbally sparring with people and going back and forth and like that shit too.
You know who so do you know who Bert Kreischer is?
Yeah.
Okay. So him and Tom Segura have a podcast, and they were talking about, I was listening to one of my buddies when I was in Texas, and he was having me listen to it. And he was talking about how like comedians are kind of dangerous in the way of like, if you say something to piss them off, they're going to be able, they're trained just by the nature of what they're trying to do. They're trained to like pick out like some of the most vulnerable shit about a person instantly. Right. Mm-hmm. And he was telling a story. He's like, I was just in this like place in my life where I would just start shit with people so that they would get mad, and then I would drop a bomb on them like 2 seconds later. And he said that he was at a light. He pissed this guy off. I don't know. I forget what he said to get him riled up, but the guy's talking shit and he's got his girlfriend in the passenger seat. And he goes, why don't you take your fat mom back to the nursing home and leave me the fuck alone? Or something like that. And he's like, don't fuck with me. I do this for a living. He's obviously he's like, she was a very pretty girl, but he's like, I wrecked her. And by association, him. And it's like, there are people that you don't want to, that if you go down that road, they're probably going to get the better of you.
It's so funny because I relate to that because I've been like, so I was pretty like, I went to a pretty hood school when I was younger, and I used to get cracked on all the time. I had a lot wrong with me when I was younger. I had these big ass Coke bottle glasses, was overweight. I was like 6 feet tall in like fucking middle school. So I was an obvious joke. My parents didn't believe in getting you nice clothes. I looked like a 40-year-old office dude. I had like high water jeans and a button up tucked in with my shirt and like shit. And then if you don't know, when I was younger, I had an infection in my scalp.
Yeah, I remember you telling me about that.
I had whole patches. Now it looks good because I got plastic surgery now when I was younger and little things like that. But like I used to have big patches of hair missing, like whole and like scars. So it looked like literally somebody took if it was like clean shaven ice. Imagine my head is clean shaven ice cream. They would come. Imagine you scooped a piece out. That was my head. So I got called fucking moon crater head, dent head.
Dent head?
Dent head. One guy was like, I need something to hold my ketchup. Can I put my ketchup on your scalp so I can dip my like shit? It's so fucking funny now, like as an adult, but at the time that shit was cripplingly bad.
Oh my God.
So I naturally built up like a thick skin to jokes. I just learned because like I'm saying, none of what any of you say in the real world is gonna bother me. Like
Right.
that shit bothered me. And also, I learned like as a defense mechanism, when I walk into a room, I look at shit to pick on people. I relate to Bird on them on that shit too. When I walk into a room, unconsciously, I look at shit to joke on you about. And I don't mean to do it, but it's like a defense mechanism. In case you say some shit, I already had the joke ready. I'm already making jokes in my head 5 and 6, 10 to 15 times minutes. Like I do it all the time. And like every party I get in, I'm like, damn, that's your girlfriend? It's your dad, nigga. What the fuck is you? The fuck you coming here with that shit for? But I don't. He can be the nicest guy. Hey, how you doing? I'm like, hey, how's it going? And I feel bad for thinking that way. But it's like once that happens to you, it doesn't just that voice in the back of your head like keep that gun on. It's like
You're
like
wired that way.
Yeah, like I tell people, and that's the same way he said that. I tell people that all the time, especially with I don't want to say be sexist, but a lot of women I'm friends with can't take a joke. So when they crack a joke on me, I'm like, so we're joking now. And I should let you know, I've been ugly my whole life. So if you really want to do this, we can do this. Like, I'm just letting you know, I have a lot of pent up shit I've been meaning to let out. And so I can take it. No matter what you say to me, I'm gonna go to sleep at night. It's gonna be fine for me. But I'm gonna fucking destroy you. You're gonna lose a couple bits of hair off what I'm about to say to you. And I relate to that. I do get that point. It's one of those weird things. Once you go through that, it doesn't just go away.
I also think that like just to speak to that, like when you relate it to men and women, like women tend to be like, and this is a big generalization. I was actually having a conversation today where I don't like generalizations and for the most part, but anyway, women tend to attack each other in that way, whereas guys, that's the way that like men will tend to bond.
Yeah,
like adults, not like
Children.
you know that it's not a bullying thing. Like there's like this unspoken understanding, like there's not bullying happening right now, but you would think that like everybody hates each other. Whereas with women, that's the way that it, generally speaking, that's the way it actually is. Like if they're saying something like that, it's a problem. Whereas for guys, it's not.
The shit I say to the people I can, like, I love my friends as close, like we came from the same womb. The things you would hear me say, I told my friend to bungee jump off a curb because he's short. Or like, I hope when you fall off the bed, don't die. Be careful. That's a long height for you. One of my friends is dark. I told him he looked like Deep Space or like Under the Bed. like shit like you just say it and then I love these dudes. Or like one of them like,
oh my God.
But then every guy jokes differently and every guy says different. Like, okay, for example, like I'm talking to the same group of people I'm talking about. My best friend, my two best friends joke differently. One of my best friends he's like a pretty boy, handsome, always gets a girl type. Mm-hmm. So his way of picking is like, damn, yo lonely ass. I got 2 girls on me though. But anyway, so like you constantly like, look at this short motherfucker getting all these girls. His way of joking on you is like, I'm getting good in life and all you eat is dirt. And the other one, which is really funny, because it taught me some things. I had a long conversation with my friends about this too, is that he doesn't joke. He just says real shit to you and like everybody laughs, but it's not a joke. Like, that's why your dog died when you were 7. And you're like, well, where did that come from? That shit's not funny. But he says it and you'll just be like, everybody's quiet. Like, why did you say that? And he'll just walk off and you'll be like, damn, why did you say that? Because he does it like it. When I was living with him, I had been used to the whole like joking on people shit. And I would joke with him. And we've been friends for years. So we would joke back and forth. But it would get to a point where I would say something and he would go, all right, chill. And I'd keep going like I always do.
Right.
He'd be like, something like really personable, like why the fuck is your shirt 2 sizes too small? Or like, your stupid ass broke ass can't afford fucking money. Why you going to college and losing all your money? Shit like that. And I'm like, damn, I really told you that shit. Like on the phone, I didn't tell everybody this shit out loud. But it taught me when I had to live with him and he did that, I couldn't just like leave the party and go home and be like, we'll be best friends later. I'll give me like a week, I'll cool off. I had to learn to deal with that. But it taught me to have a fucking backbone. Like, one thing I learned about, I'm segueing into this, is like being friends with men sharpens you. The more you're around men and you have to deal with men and their different intricacies and how everybody relates to certain situations, it makes you sharp. Because you can't just like, you can't go home and curl up in a ball and go, that shit hurt my feelings. You just gotta just brush that shit off. You gotta take it. And the amount of times I've been around dudes and dudes said some shit that was like way out of line, or like, I was like, why the fuck did you say that? And just had to deal with it. Like, but it made me a better man.
You know what's interesting about that too, and this kind of I hesitate to even say this, but because it's like a little bit red pill-ish, like it walks that line. But there's a theory that the reason that like you have to just deal with it is because that they're like with guys, there's supposed to always be this like underlying threat of potential violence. Like you could potentially physically, like, it's like, is this worth actually getting into an altercation about? Because there's always like the potential that it could go physical, whereas women will tend to be more emotionally assaulting you. No, I don't know if it's true or not, but like it makes sense.
A reaction is looked at. Like as a guy, right? If you mean you're cracking jokes at each other, and I hopped up and threw my drink in your face, right? I'm a bitch. Like I'm a weak bitch. And I mean, it's not me like judging. I'm having my hand in the camera, but like that's the Will Smith thing. No person can convince me on any level that wasn't a bitch move to walk up and smack somebody for a joke. Now, I'm not saying there's certain things that shouldn't be said. I'm not saying there are certain things that be said about somebody's wife or blah, blah, blah. That's for you to discuss. But no to a joke. There is no reaction to a joke that should require me walking up and smacking this open hand, smacking another man. I beat your ass on some thug shit or stomp you out or hit you in my car or shoot you.
But I wouldn't hit someone with your car.
I feel like the slap is like the one, or like if you're gonna do that, go 10. Like run this nigga over, kill him, go all the way. Don't push it out. No, but I'm joking.
I know.
Yeah.
I just think that like in a situation like that, I mean, Will Smith is probably going to be fucked for like indefinitely. Like he's going to grace the halls that Cosby's in now.
Yeah, like I would never imagine Denzel walking up and smacking my dad because my dad cracked a joke about Denzel's wife.
Right.
But that's what I'm saying. The view of what's socially acceptable is different, because if a girl was cracking a joke with her girl and she was like, "That's why I slept with your husband, bitch," and she threw a drink in her face, you'd be like, "Go on, girl. Tell her ass." You know what I'm saying? Everybody would cheer her on. But if I like the same thing could happen to me if I splashed drink in her face and walked to the table and was like, I could hop in my Porsche and ride off. Y'all be off the table. You'd be dragging yourself out. Everybody would be like, "That guy's a bitch." Yeah, everybody be like, "Yeah, I know." Throwing drinks in the face. Come on now. And it's weird to me. That's how that's in,
no, but like
the dynamic of it.
Yeah, but like consider like overarching themes when it comes to what we accept from men and what we accept from women, and like traditional roles that men and women inhabit in terms of like, I'm trying to think of a way to say this where it doesn't sound ridiculous. Like traditionally, men are more physical than women, and women are more like, I know I keep saying they're more emotional than men. So it's like if a woman throws a drink in another woman's face and you cheer them on, that's the same thing as like a guy throwing a punch, and now Paige is standing next to me doing something for work so she can hear this entire portion of the conversation.
Oh, hey, Paige.
But like, because like traditionally,
ask her, does she like the gabagoo? Don't ask her that. I'm joking.
Dreamii wants to know if you like the gabagoo.
The gabagoo.
The gabagoo?
Is it goo? I thought it was a goo or go.
What are you referring to?
I was making a Sopranos joke.
We haven't watched The Sopranos yet.
Oh, they say always say
gabagoo. It's gabagoo.
I thought it was goo.
Yes,
it's
she
go.
Does.
Okay. So it's go. I was saying it's go, not goo.
So technically,
okay.
So the thing that they're referring to, I'm assuming, is spelled. Like if you say it the way that it's spelled,
okay.
It's going to be said capicola.
Capicola. Okay.
Right. So in this area, if you're talking to someone like that, they're gonna say the gabagoo.
Gabagoo. Okay. So they were saying it wrong in the show.
No,
okay.
I got to see what they say in the show. It's probably not wrong.
Okay.
Huh? Paige doesn't say it that way, but you like the gabagoo? She goes, she does. She goes, I do.
Thumbs up.
He just gave you a thumbs up. Don't tell me not to ask her anything, because you know I'm going to do it.
Yeah, I was like, no, don't do it. No. But go back to what we were saying, it's just interesting the dynamics of that. Like,
well, okay, so yeah. What I was saying is that, like we talk a lot about like power scaling in anime and shit like that. Like, sorry, that's exactly what I'm about to start saying. So like traditionally, like generally, that would be the same, on the same order of magnitude as a guy throwing a punch to another guy. Like a woman throwing a drink in another woman's face. I feel, and this is just what I would assume is the reason that we're like more willing to accept a woman doing that versus a guy doing it and calling him a bitch versus her not being that way.
Girl, you go, girl. Hey,
right.
look, bro. And I'm no funny. I'm talking shit about it. But if I was in a bar and some girl was like, "Yo, has been splash her," I'd be like, "Yo, you whoop her ass, get her." I'd be like, I'd be because I like, it's like natural. I don't get it.
Right, but you would probably have the same reaction if a guy threw a punch at another guy. You'd probably have a similar reaction.
Yeah, I'd be like,
if the guy's got into
down like that, get up.
Right,
like, bro, come on now.
And I feel like that's the reason that we accept it to be that way is because of like traditional. I can't believe I'm about to say this. Traditional gender roles. And like I know. I'm sorry. I almost threw up in my own mouth as it is. The reason that we accept it is because of that, and it's like, and the fact that like men tend to resolve things physically, and so like if you revert, I don't want to say revert, if you resort to solving it the way a woman would solve it when it's a physical altercation, it's viewed as like you're being a bitch.
But see, the interesting
being very careful how I choose my words right now because I know she's standing right there.
No, I wish
I'm
you
joking.
could hear me. It'd be so interesting. It'd be so. Oh, I wish you could be interesting because the view of it is so interesting to me because you can flip that and go, I can't do as a man, I can't do women things. It's viewed wrong, but a woman can do man things. Like a woman can beat another woman's ass or throw the drink. Either way, she's still right, depending on the circumstances.
You're right, but like.
I can't, but what I'm saying is to segue that into like all this overarching Will Smith, Chris Rock thing is that I'm just saying the way he handled his emotions came off wrong from my perspective.
Oh,
like,
okay.
That's really when I'm kind of roping it all together into one big I guess wrangling the cow pokes into one stable, all the cow conversations into one. Is that as a man, the way I view my emotions and characterize how I feel about certain things and address things is specific to me. So I can't tell how another man's wrong or you're right or I'm wrong. I don't do that. You know what I'm saying? I've had guys in my job cry at work because they didn't get a raise. I would never do that shit. Like, I'd fucking leave before I'd cry at a job about not getting some money. I've cried about getting fired, but I never cried about not getting no money.
Yeah, like I think it's important to make note that it's like, it's not that it's not okay to cry, but it's like.
No. Different, but it's different. He's not, but I'm saying, I'm not even going like, he's a bitch for crying. I'm going, it's how he handled the situation. He's not a bitch for crying.
I'm kidding. I know.
Yeah, he probably is a little bit of a bitch. But anyway, but what I'm saying is it's different reactions to different things. Like I miss my parents, right? Mm-hmm. A lot, actually. I don't tell them that all the time because I don't live near them. But I don't live near my parents. And it does get lonely living in this big ass house by yourself. I don't got no girlfriend. I got friends and shit like that. Sometimes I'll see people like shit that like affects parents to me now is way more emotional to me than it was 3 months ago. Like I could have watched Spider-Man like when I was living at home and it had just been a good movie. But the part about his mom dying like really hit me and fuck with me because I miss my mom.
Right.
Or like you have a really strong, from what I can tell, bond with your brothers, your mother, and your father, right?
Yeah.
Pretty tight bond.
I also do have a sister, but yeah.
That's cool too. I didn't know you. You know what's funny? You did tell me that too.
I literally told you today.
Wait. Oh yeah, that's right. Can I? Okay.
I'm just fucking with you. Just go.
No. Do they all have F names like Francine?
No.
Oh, that they missed the chance. Your parents could have been Francine. Francesca. That's what I would have done. But we can't get what we want, can we? But anyway, what I was saying was, is like things that affect family are going to affect you differently. It's specific to each person. So it's funny how this whole like notion, like even me talking about Chris Rock and calling this person a bitch, that person a bitch, it's funny and jokey, but it's very interesting how what affects you emotionally is dissected indifferently based off your perception of reality. From what we were saying before, like I remember when I graduated college, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think about this all the time. When I found out I graduated college at a stoplight in the middle of Richmond. There was nobody outside at like 9 o'clock at night. I remember I got a text message on my phone. My freshman went, congratulations. And I looked at my email and he sent me back my test scores. And I got all A's on my final exams for all his classes. I have 3 of the same professors for all finals. He was like, you passed all my finals. I'll be seeing graduation. And I literally, the light turned from red to green back to red. I had a full-on fucking cry meltdown at the stoplight for all the shit of going through college and getting that engineering degree. And just like the late nights at work, the struggling, the stress of like, I'm not gonna do this shit. I should just give up. The I'm too old to be in college. The I'm not gonna get a job. The I can't get into all that shit just hit me all at once. Mm-hmm. And I remember a guy drove up next to me and was looking at me, and I probably looked like the most little bitch guy. And all my windows is down in like a dirty car, and he's looking at me. I'm like legit ugly crying. He kind of looked at me and kind of threw a smile and rode off. And I think about that shit like. Nobody knows all that shit that built up to that one moment. All they see is me crying at a stoplight and was like, wow, what a bitch. And just rolled off. But see, that's what I'm saying about like men, women, and all the situations we go through as people, is that nobody thinks about all that shit that led up to that one moment. You think about that guy crying. You think about Will Smith slapping that motherfucker on stage, not the 40 years of other shit compounding in that one moment. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. The thing is, specific to that situation, I think it's important to address the fact that like it's not really an okay thing to, it's not acceptable to allow your emotions to rule you, and that's in that way where it's like that was the offense was not fitting. What's the saying? The punishment wasn't fitting for the offense. You know what I mean? Like it's not okay for an individual to unleash years of problems
on one person,
the person who on the straw that broke the camel's back. Because maybe he crossed the line. Let's just say hypothetically, maybe he crossed the line. That doesn't mean that you get to release the frustration of the fact that your wife was like fucking another man and like and then interviewed you about it.
Like I beat somebody's ass. They're making jokes. Like if you had cancer, right? Mm-hmm. And you like somebody was like, I was on stream, which somebody's like, I saw you in your stream, you and your friend the pirate. I'd be like, because you had the bandana and you're bald.
Okay. Now I get what you're saying.
This is a pretty okay joke. I could have done. Give me some 5 minutes. I could do better. I'd laugh and I beat the shit out of me. That's not fucking funny, but it kind of was. But like, I get that emotion of going, I love this person or I care about this person. That shit's not funny. I really get that. Yeah. I really, everybody does. It's fair. It's a fair statement.
I'll just say.
It just felt wrong. I don't know why. It just didn't.
I'll tell you why. Because from the perspective of an objective third party, like when you're watching that interaction, he's getting disproportionately upset to the joke that's actually being cracked. Like he's like really, like you could see that he was like
seething with anger.
Yeah, like he just insulted him generations back, and like it was far more based on his reaction. You would think that the joke was drastically more objectively offensive, not just like maybe he shouldn't have said that.
Yeah, I've seen worse people take like I've seen worse people take better like jokes than that. Like fucking the dude from, I hate him so much. He's like really, really annoying. The guy from H3H3, Ethan Klein.
Oh my God.
Like the worst. But he made a joke. He was like, And I don't even like those like hard, like again, this is me saying those like hardcore like super like Ben Shapiro like Republican guys are like weird. Like I feel like they're kind of weirdos. I don't hate them, but I'm like,
yeah, no, they are
I
a
would
little.
they're a little strange. But I like the super like woke liberal people on the left are pretty weird. Dude. They're both weird to me. Like I said, I'm very median with my opinions. It's like I'm not saying I'm like Charlie Brown. I'm the enlightened one, and everybody else is weird. But like I look at these people and I'm like, you're kind of off. So when Ethan Klein was like, one of them was Jewish, and he was like, I wish they had gotten rid of you in the Holocaust, like they got rid of them. I was like, whoa there, buddy. That guy didn't beat his ass. That guy didn't like stomp him out.
Right.
But like Will Smith can get mad over like women pattern baldness and like just haul off and just slap motherfucker on stage in his moment, which is like, I don't know. Regardless of how I feel about Chris Rock, regardless of how I feel about Will Smith, that one moment encapsulated a lot of different, it's so many different threads that connect to that one moment about that. Like about, and I know I'm gonna make it more than what it is, but it's so interesting the dynamic of like male confidence, like what you tolerate in your marriage, what's socially acceptable, how you deal with aggression, how do you deal with comedy? Is comedy acceptable in these moments? What's okay at the moment to crack a joke? How do you take a joke? All these things flow into like your general like people say shit at work to me. And I should like if I was a job, I'd beat the shit out of them. Like this dude in my job told me I look like Idi Amin because I was wearing shades. I was like, you racist motherfucker. It's kind of fucking funny. I'm not gonna lie to you. In my back of my mind, I was like, that was a good joke, but I should beat your ass for saying that. And then he literally goes, he's especially when this is where I get racist. Especially when people are not black and they go to other black people. This is number one pet peeve. Do not do this. If you have a black friend and you crack a good black joke, do not then take that black joke and go to other black people and go, look, I just said that guy, blah, blah, blah.
Who was it that I saw?
Do not do that because it makes other black, you say you want other black people like, look, this guy's my bitch. I told him a black joke, he didn't do shit about it.
No. So I forget where I saw this. It was a video, somebody talking about like white people saying the N-word. And he's like, that is a regional pass. You have to be re-vetted by every group of black people you know. It does not carry over. Like it, and he goes, the only person that has a universal pass for that is Eminem.
Yeah, I give like 5. And like, I always think about the N-word, like about white people saying the N-word. Like, I had my friends rolling one time. I was like, imagine you're like a black, right? And Spider-Man swoops in and saves you. And he picks me up. Spider-Man's like, I got you, my nigga. I don't know if I could be like, I'd be like Spider-Man, you know, I really love you and I feel like I should let you go because I fuck with you. You pretty much, you're my hero. But Spider-Man, I don't know if I'm giving you the N-word. Like, what do you do when it's like your hero or like John Cena, right? Imagine you're at the gym and you're like, yo, John Cena. And John Cena's like, yo, what's up, man? You working out? You're like, I was like, yo, John Cena, I really fuck with you. Like, you might like wrestler, like one of my favorite wrestlers. He's like, yeah, you my nigga too. I'd be like, damn, that's really crazy, John Cena. It's so like interesting when you put it in those microcosms of those jokes, like when you throw it in there, like it's like the moment stops and you're like, wait a minute.
You know what's also interesting about that particular word? You know what else is interesting about that particular word? Like,
I should take that on stand up one day. Like, who Spider-Man called you the N-word when he says, what's I got you, my nigga? Spider-Man, I love you. I don't know. Like, do as a black person, like, let this motherfucker who can bench press a fire truck, let it be like Spider-Man. You know, you're my cool, but I don't know if I'm letting you call me my nigga. What do I do?
Oh, okay. Well, I'm just going to drop you here then. It's like, what do you mean you're going to drop me here? We're swinging between buildings. See you later.
Oh, so I can't say the N-word? I don't know if I can be saying people I can't. Like, what Spider-Man only saves you if you let him get the N-word pass? Like, if he can't, it's like, now what do we say? Thank you, my nigga Spider-Man. You're welcome. Hey, please. But anyway, that's your saying. Sorry.
I was just gonna say, you know what's interesting about that in general? It's just the fact that there's like nothing that you can say that's like that offensive to any white person. I challenge you to find one thing that bears that same weight.
White people only get offended if like you say something that can like marginally affect their livelihood. Like if I was like I don't, it's not the same, but like when y'all be like, you're racist, like it carries such weight because it can like destroy your life. It's kind of the same, but it's not like it's like
you're not personally offended by it.
Yeah, like
not in the same way.
Because the funny thing about the N-word, it's like the N-word is to me, it's like it's like a reminder. Like me having this great moment, right? And like we could be cracking jokes and we could have this great bonding. Me and you could like get lost on a deserted island, right? We go through these trauma and we could eat coconuts and fight off cannibals and go through all this shit. And like we get back on the plane and go back home and I'm like, you know, Falco, I really love you. And you'd go, I love you too, my nigga. I'd be like, damn, I just realized you're white and I'm black. Like it no matter what happens, we go through. It's like a constant reminder that you're white and I'm black, and we're always gonna be different. It's like this. That's what it feels like. It's like this.
You know, I never even thought of it that way.
Like that's literally what it feels like. That's why it's not that it's bad. Like again, it doesn't hurt my feelings. And I'm very funny about. I tell people all the time, and different people, different races, Spanish people and Chinese people. It's not my job to police the N-word. If you say it, that is your business. I'm not gonna stop you. Just don't call me the N-word. And if a nigga, if you say the N-word and a big group of black dudes walk up to you and like, what'd you just say? Do not look at me to then back you up as your designated black friend. I'm gonna be like, hey, bro, he said it. You took the responsibility.
Like, I don't even really know him that well.
Nope, not my dog, not my fight. But that's what it feels like. That's the best way I can describe it to you from a person outside of it, is that the N-word is like, it's like you threw on a t-shirt that has a big finger on it that says you're black. That's what it feels like. It's not like the word hurt me, but it's like, damn, we went through all this great shit, but you just called me a nigga. That's what it feels like. It's like that's the joke about Spider-Man. If I understand, I'm gonna crack that joke. It's like, would I let Spider-Man give me the N-word? Spider-Man's like my favorite hero. It's like the greatest. When I was a little kid, I wanted to be Spider-Man. I had like a meltdown when I was like 5 because I realized Spider-Man wasn't real. But like, I'm grown now. Spider-Man, like Batman too. Batman could be like, got you, my nigga. And I'd be like, Batman, I can't let that shit slide. Like, I can't let
But wait a minute. What if it's Miles Morales?
See, that's the question.
Oh,
well, that's an interesting one.
That just dawned on me.
What if you don't know Spider-Man? What if you like in the news, right? You seen like a little bit of Spider-Man's mask, and he'd always been white, and then Miles came in, and you didn't realize it was a different Spider-Man. Spider-Man was like, "I got you, my nigga," and you're like, Spider-Man.
The fuck did you just say to me?
Did you just say, Spider-Man, you're white? And he's like, no, wait. He's like, you're black. I didn't realize. He's like, what about that? No, he can't do it.
You know what I think is interesting about that too? What? That just dawned on me is that correct me if I'm wrong, but they don't, like, Miles Morales is Spider-Man and so is Peter Parker.
And so the original what happened was in that universe, Peter Parker had died. The new version is that they both work alongside each other, but Spider-Man gets to work in Harlem because that's where the black people are. So he's Harlem Spider-Man, and Peter Parker is Manhattan because where white people are, which is like funny as fuck when you think of it like that. Because it's
like, wait a minute, this is kind of racist. A little bit of racist undertones here.
It's funny. It's funny when shit like that happens in movies and like TV shows, because it's kind of racist, but it's like,
whatever.
Can you kind of blame them? Like, I'm not gonna lie to you. Like it's like if Miles, like, imagine, I was thinking about like if they didn't have the mask on, right?
Yeah.
If I was like in my car and some dudes ran up to my car and like busting my windows down, and all of a sudden I heard, and then Miles came down with his mask off. He's like, I got you. I'd be like, what the fuck? Niggas can fly? I'd be like, oh shit. I'd be like, look, bro, like, you got it. Take the keys. I'd be like more scared of that shit than like, if say I was on robbing the car, right? And Peter swung down and beat some people up. I'd be like, okay, Abercrombie and Fitch, get the fuck out of here. I'm not scared of you. Like, you can bench press a car, but you're still like, I still throw you look the kid I used to throw the tether ball in the face at recess. I'm not more scared of you. Like, it's different it's the same shit. It's different reactions. But that's what I'm saying. Like, the nuance of race is such an interesting thing with how you deal with your version of reality. And this is roping it back into that stuff too, because it's funny, but like, kind of not. It's kind of true, but it's funny. It's in a weird way. Like, I always think about that shit, like Egypt and all this other shit that happened back in the day with all the different races and how interactions were had. What do people think? Like, how did they move? How did they maneuver?
Yeah.
Like, imagine you're over here doing your daily sacrificing of children, and pillaging and destroying other villages, eating your fruit and playing kickball. And then some people that smell like cottage cheese because they've been on a boat for like 6 months roll up and they're like in some like hot ass armor. They're like, all right, all this shit is ours. Get the fuck out of here. Like, what do you think? Like, what is your mental state there? Like, I always think about that kind of shit. Like, what do you, you know what I'm saying? Like, imagine if I just came in your house and was just like, you paid like having your I don't know, what do y'all eat? Spaghetti dinner? That was because you're Italian. That was racist. I shouldn't have said that. You're eating.
I did make some good penne vodka sauce the other night.
I really got to come by and try that.
It was the first time. It was all right.
Rice and steak, normal dinner, right?
Sure.
And I come in, and and go, what's up, Frank? What's up, Paige? I knock all your shit off the table, and I throw a piece on the table, and I'm like, this shit's mine now, bitches. Upstairs, that's your spot, and I like downstairs is just mine now. Everything that was yours downstairs is mine, and you can't do shit about it because I have a gun and you don't. It's like a very weird. When you describe it, like it's very fucking weird.
Yeah, it is.
It's
because like the first reaction is like, all right, well, let's go get the shovel.
You gotta kill him, and then you like, and I whip out a pistol, and you're like, oh, he's packing heat. And then you gotta like go upstairs and like formulate plans like, all right, we gotta get rid of this motherfucker. This shit ain't gonna fly. And then I go upstairs and I walk upstairs and I'm like, hey, you guys plotting against me. Fair problem? You not like how things are going? Oh, everything's fine. Everything's fine.
It's like, no, we don't like how things are going. Get the fuck out.
I always thought about like the Indians go to the white people and like as a group is like, hey guys, I just want to talk to you. We've decided as a group, we really don't like you guys here. Do you mind like leaving? Can you imagine? I want to be racist, but I imagine went down.
Well, also like, too, the thing is, and what we will end on this, what we're not considering in our examples is the language barrier.
Oh yeah, probably they couldn't understand each other. Yeah,
like there's no like someone lands on the new shores and it's like, oh, hey, this is all ours, and they're just like, huh? Because you know what's funny? So I heard a podcast about that. No, not podcast. Like somebody talking about a podcast about that. That's why they sold the land to these people. It's because their concept of owning shit was different than everybody else's owning shit. Who? Like the Indians, okay,
like the Native Americans.
No, I just wanted to.
You can't own. You couldn't own natural things in their concept of owning things. You just live there. Like
right.
So when white people came into them, they thought it was a fucking joke. They were like, "We'll buy this land from you for like $40." They'd be like, "Yeah, you'll buy that cloud next time, motherfucker." Like, okay, here. Right. They thought they were ripping them off. They were like just taking the money. Like, look at these stupid people buying land. And then they were just like walking through it. They're like, you can't walk here. And they're like, what do you mean I can't walk here? They're like, we bought this land. They're like, oh, you were serious? Right. That's really how that happened. And they were like, that wasn't a joke. They're like, no, this shit wasn't a joke. And they're like, oh, I didn't think that through at all. Well, yeah, again, language barrier. And there are barriers to just like cultural barriers too. Like the fact that they didn't look at that as something that you could own. Yeah, you can't buy a cloud. Like if I told you I'm buying this cloud, you'd be like, okay. Sure, whatever. Do what you want. But anyway, that was a great comment. We had some really, really good conversations. Yeah, this was a good one. I enjoyed this. You're right. Especially Spider-Man. I'm gonna laugh about that later on tonight. It's funny. Everybody, thank you for tuning in. Whoever was here, I appreciate you. I love you. Not really. I only love one thing. Lord Sosa, Chief Keef. Everybody have a good night. And we'll see you on Sunday. See you on Sunday.